We are so excited to be here today, and we have Tim Turner, our CEO and founder of Subsplash.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Excited to be here. Got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. We've done so much in the last 16 years, really since you started Subsplash, and it all stemmed from that heart to make the gospel incredibly accessible.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see how the Lord has directed our steps in this. So.
That's right. And we do have a big announcement on that today, really focusing on that ability to leverage technology and build communities and focus on discipleship. But first, what led us to this point today? I mean, we can even go back and look at church history and we say how churches have leveraged technology, from Paul using the Roman roads to the Gutenberg press, giving people the actual ability to read the Bible for themselves, to someone like Billy Graham using radio ministry. There's been so many technological advances, and here we are today with this huge opportunity to think, how can we actually leverage what's available to us today and make something to connect people to the discipleship journey?
Yeah, absolutely. Today's no different. So now more than ever, churches need technology partners that they can trust to help them advance the gospel in their community and beyond.
And Tim, you have a history in the church and just kind of dreaming about how do you get the gospel plus technology together? Tell us a little bit about kind of that, your upbringing and what led you to where we are today.
Yeah, so my grandpa was a pastor, and our family was always very involved in the churches that we were in. And so learning biblical teaching and wisdom and all that, and then taking that and going and serving in our church and all that was definitely a big part of growing up. And so we would even listen to a lot of radio ministries and tape ministries from like Dr. Tony Evans, R.C. Sproul,
Yeah, I remember you talking about like having like the wall lined with cassette tapes.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And you think about that even as just a great example of like that was the technology at the time, and now we have that'd be a little crazy today to have a whole wall full of cassettes. But we have this ability to solve problems in a new way, which really led to kind of the first app. Tell us about that.
So originally Subsplash was doing a lot of design and development consulting for software for the Fortune 500 companies working on their products, and along the way saw an opportunity to serve our church with this small business that we had, just hearing a sermon about like how can you use your gifts and talents, and we were thinking, well, what can we do with Subsplash for that, and saw an opportunity to make a mobile app because the mobile access just really wasn't there, and the Lord just opened up the door, and we felt like He just said trust and obey to go ahead and do that, and through that that became the first app for a church, and then from there we just kept reinvesting any income that we had, and we're seeing a lot of the really good fruit of that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you think about that trust and obey moments is one of those huge stones of remembrance of like, wow, look at what God has done from that time. And also the impact that we've seen through that. Hundreds of millions of sermons played. And we get to hear stories from time to time, people sharing around, like a friend of mine. He discovered Jesus because he first found an app, started listening to sermons that led him to come to the church where he wouldn't have gone to the church just naturally on his own.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So people can discover the church that way and then grow in their discipleship journey by getting just good Bible teaching and that. And so there's even the story of a husband and wife who were divorced, and then they started listening to the marriage sermons that their church was going through, even though they were separated, and they started through that getting reconciled, and then they got remarried, and it's really just
awesome.
like such a cool reconciliation story. And they're doing it through the app that we had built for them, for that church. And so they were just, that kind of stuff is exciting,
Right.
to be able to see that kind of fruit. So
Yeah, it's amazing. When we think about the success of that first app, which was one of the first streaming apps, even in the App Store, right? Just being able to click play and see it go live.
Yeah.
That has led to some pretty cool stories we get to hear. What happened after that?
Yeah, so as we continue to build on the platform, one of the other building blocks that we added, in addition to apps and media delivery and everything, was Subsplash Giving. And so to be able to do that in a way that's like very simple, mobile optimized, and also providing churches with very transparent rates. So we brought in experts to figure that out, and from that, Grow Curve was born. And the idea there is that not only would we save churches from what they would otherwise be paying as like an industry standard rate, which to date we've saved churches over $21 million in processing fees, but also putting an extra $2.5 million back into churches through Grow Curve. So like the more donations that they receive, the more money we actually send to them, and so they have better and better rates. So ultimately, the whole goal of that is stewardship, and doing that in a way that there's like integrity and there's transparency, and that more people can connect to Jesus.
That's awesome, and we love that. And that fires us up at Subsplash too, just thinking about that ability to marry good technology with the stewardship component, with that heart component of like, is this the best thing for the church? And really what I hear you talking about, Tim, is how we're trying to be attentive to the needs of the church, but coming up with creative solutions to help solve those problems. But there's still more to do.
Yeah, there is a lot to do, and what we're seeing is that churches need a simple, robust, all-in-one platform to connect people to each other as they grow in their discipleship journey. And the events of this past year have really revealed how we all need connection, and complex systems can get in the way of that stuff.
Yeah, right. It's a lot for pastors and leaders to manage and try to navigate through all these complex systems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So I see the future of Subsplash is just continuing on this, being the simple, comprehensive, all-in-one solution for that, and being a trusted partner that churches just know that we've got their back, and we're going to be innovating for them.
Right. Yeah, and we really see that being disconnected should not steal the joy of why pastors got into ministry in the first place. But we believe there's a world where we can bring connected tools together to enable that first passion, which is making disciples and sharing the gospel.
Yeah, absolutely. And you shared earlier that our conviction is that the truth of Jesus through the life of the local church is the greatest source of joy and hope for the world. And we're focused on building great technology that just reinforces that for pastors, church leaders, volunteers, in all their contexts and backgrounds.
Yeah, that's well said, Tim. Thanks for sharing so much about your heart, what got us here. I know I'm excited about it, and our team is, because that's the heartbeat. What are we doing that's actually having an impact on our globe and our world, that's focused on sharing the gospel, helping the local church make disciples?
Yeah.
Up next, we have Stephen Testone. He's our Chief Product Officer, and he's going to be talking a little bit more about some of this vision for the future and what it means with the technology that we have here at Subsplash.